What's up, gang? I am your host, Flavic, and today we are going to be making a follow-up video to the last video on getting into the game with a video about good resources online. Now, this is going to be sort of a list of 10, but this isn't a top 10 list because, I mean, come on now, it's not really fair to say, oh, this one resource or YouTuber or whatever is better than this other one, blah, 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 blah. This isn't a beauty contest, but it is a list of 10 because I'm lazy and it felt like an easy way to write this script. So anyway, let's get into it. Number 10. Okay, so first up on our list is going to be One Piece Top Decks. Now, One Piece Top Decks is essentially just a repository for tournament reports and deck lists. It's simple, it's got an easy to navigate UI, and it's generally up to date. I say generally because sometimes they can lag behind a little bit on their tournament coverage, and so because of that, I do have some other resources on the list that are a little bit more on the pulse in that regard. But it is a good way, it's a good website, I should say, for looking at formats and metas over the course of like an extended period of time, because you can look at old formats and you can look at Japanese meta and get a good sense of like what people are teching on. You can filter all the deck lists that you see by leader to see how many tops that any given leader has, what people are playing, what cards are varying between list from list. So it's pretty good in that regard. They also have scans for like all of the sets and promos and starter decks and whatever, which isn't super unique for a lot of the resources on this list, but it's just a nice feature to have. They post articles from time to time, but I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I don't really read those things. I kind of just go on here to study tournaments and deck lists for the most part. Number 9. All right, so this is going to be one of many YouTubers that I shout out on this list, and that's because I think it's an extremely valuable resource for anybody who's looking to learn the game in a way that's easily understandable, right? That's going to be VV Theory. VV approaches talking about the game like a high school teacher might, because as I understand it, VV is a teacher in real life. But what makes that special is that there's no barrier to entry for VV's content. There's no knowledge checks, there's no paywall, there's no required knowledge of card game culture going into it. There's none of that. It's all just super easily accessible for newcomers and seasoned players alike, which is super sweet. The only crowd that I could see not vibing with VV's content so much is maybe like the hyper competitive crowd, and that's mostly just because VV isn't hyper competitive. You know, he's not posting tournament results, he's not doing tournament reports or anything like that. He just posts the content that he wants to make, and he presents it in an earnest and honest, very genuine way. Even if you're not into that, if you're only a competitive grinder and you only care about the tournament stuff, go ahead and check out VV Theory anyway, because he's super awesome. And if you are in the general audience, like myself and many others, VV Theory is a fantastic channel to check out in this One Piece space. Number 8. Okay, next up we've got Limitless. Now, these guys have had skin in the game for a long time, coming off the back of Pokemon with their website. But, you know, on first glance, what you're going to notice is that the website is very similar to One Piece Top Decks, which we mentioned previously. Now, the things that differ between them, the two major things, I think, is one, the UI for Limitless is generally a little bit more appealing for me, I think, and the card searcher is a little easier to use. But the main major difference between the two sites is how they treat the meta, right? So I personally recommend One Piece Top Decks if you're looking at the Japanese meta, versus if you're looking for like the most up-to-date tournament coverage for the US meta. I think Limitless is the better option there. Another thing that I think Limitless is really good for, it's my favorite use of the site, honestly, is their proxy generator. It makes it super easy to get all your proxies printed. They puts the guidelines there for you. It spaces everything properly. You just put the cards you want in and print and cut. It's easy peasy. And the last thing I think is worth shouting out for Limitless is their little play button. If you click on that, it'll show you like different online and in-person events that are being hosted all over the country, which is a great tool for anybody who's looking to get and grind like competitive games in between sanctioned events. So that's Limitless. Go check them out and see if, you know, maybe you can find any events online that you're interested in. Number 7. Okay, if you are 58 like me and you still have a Facebook, this is a great place to find a deal on pretty much anything, and that's One Piece Card Game USA. It's a little Facebook group here, and people pretty much sell everything on here: dice, playmats, singles, you name it. And occasionally you'll find looking to buy posts on here where if you've got stuff that you're looking to offload, like extras or whatever, it can be a great way to make a little bit of extra chump change on the side if you're savvy with it. Now, I say if you're savvy with it because it is a Facebook group, right? So you're dealing with all the trappings of, like, you know, buying and selling stuff through Facebook Marketplace. And so, like, as with anything, just exercise caution, you know, and good judgment, and you should be fine. You know, it's only like one step more serious or personal, I guess, than TCG Player. And you can find better deals than TCG Marketplace, on average through this group, which is primarily why I recommend it. Number 6. Sticking in the world of social media, we have One Piece reviews over on Instagram. These guys are great. They post deck lists, they post tournament coverage, reports, all that jazz, and they're always super duper up to date. Like, generally within a few hours of any event finishing, you can at least count on them having the top cut breakdown posted, if not deck lists as well. And it's always just, that's something that's going to be super helpful if you're into the competitive scene, because it keeps the game like fresh in your face, right? And if you're curious about, like, hey, when's the new product coming out? PRB is supposed to be coming out here soon. What's the date on that? In their About Me section, they have like all of the products that are coming out for the year, and all of their release dates there. So that's super duper helpful. They also post scans pretty frequently. Like, whenever a new scan for a new card comes out or gets spoiled or whatever, they always have the scans in good quality with good translations. And that's, again, super helpful for staying up to date on the game if you're into the competitive scene. When I wake up in the morning, you know, and I do my Instagram scroll, this is why I like this page, because if there's new scans to be spoiled or there's a new tournament that happened the night before or whatever, I wake up in the morning, I scroll Instagram, it's right there. I jump in the group chats with my friends, I chat about it, we talk, oh, did you see that new card got spoiled? Oh, did you see what topped in fucking whatever regional, blah, 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 blah. And it's, you know, it always prompts good conversations and is a great way to start the day. Number 5. Back in the world of YouTube, I want to shout out Big Was. Now, Wasi is one of those European folk what come from across the water, and his main deal is upcoming releases and product announcements. I like Wasi because he stays very up to date on things, and he provides a good view of things that you might not get from some of the websites I've mentioned on the list already. Sometimes I turn my brain off, right? And like, I just don't pay attention to spoilers or product announcements or some of the commercials for new stuff that Bandai posts or what have you. And I can just go watch a Wasi video and he catches me right up. You know, I just, on my lunch break at work or in the car on the way to work or whatever, I just listen to it, watch it, whatever. And I'm right there. I'm up to date. I know what's coming out. I have a good idea of, you know, how I want to spend my money in the future and so on and so forth. Go show Wasi some love. He's a great content creator. Number 4. Next up, we've got Atakai TCG. These guys primarily focus on making alt art proxies, Dawn, dice, that sort of thing. They even have stuff for Union Arena and Gundam, if that's your bag. You can sort by leader, by set, if you're looking for a specific alt art leader. Some of the highlights for me, really, are this super sweet alt art Buggy, and this alt art Luffy here, as well as this Dawn set. It's a whole set of 10, and it's all the moments that each individual Straw Hat has declared that Luffy will be Pirate King, and I think that's fucking sick. They're really a great site to check out if you're into cool swag. Just be aware that these are proxies. They're not legal for sanctioned events. This is more just a novelty for you to play with at locals or at home, but either way, it's super sick to have in your collection, some of these alt art proxies, so go check them out. Number 3. Next up, we got one that's a little bit less of a resource and more of just an outlet for a laugh. So the One Piece TCG community is unfortunately very active on Twitter or X or whatever they're calling the Musk machine these days. And it's where you're going to be the most cutting edge as far as being up to date with information. It's where you're going to find all the deck lists. It's going to find all the conversations about what's going on in the meta. You're going to have all the drama, all the trappings that come with, you know, Twitter space, right? But today, specifically, I want to shout out my guy, Sawmill TCG. As I understand it, he used to be a judge. I'm not sure. I'm sure Flacco will tell you about it. But he posts very frequently. He always has a pretty consistent level of wit, I guess is a good way to say it. He's a funny guy. And it always makes for a good One Piece related chuckle in my day when I'm scrolling my feed and I see him shitposting on the timeline, right? I think in these times, in these days, in these trials and tribulations of shitty Bandai card fests and political assassinations and all the hoopla, I think a little bit of levity is something we could all use in our lives, right? So go check out my boy Sawmill. Number 2. All right, we're going to round out the list with 2 of my favorite YouTubers in the space, starting off with Atrocious TCG. Now, Atrocious posts pretty frequently, and most of his content is centered around the competitive scenes of both Japan and the US. Now, he posts a lot of variety content, right? A lot of the times he's posting about whatever decks are popping off in the meta, or that he's vibing on at any given time, but primarily he posts about ongoing events. So if you're someone who likes to study the meta and you're a grinder, Atrocious is a great resource to have. And as a fledgling content creator myself, his level of quality is very consistent and very good, and I think that's something that's really worth commending and shouting out. And he's trying to get across that 20,000 subscriber threshold right now, so go show him some love and tell him Uncle Flaffic sent ya. Number 1. Okay, last up on the list, we have Real_Joshua. Now, I would like to clarify that while this isn't a top 10 list, these aren't in any particular order, Joshua is my favorite content creator in the space, and there's a lot of reasons why. Namely, it's going to be the level of quality in his content and the earnestness of which he approaches the game with, much like Atrocious, except the difference between Atrocious and Joshua is their focus. Joshua is different and stands out in the YouTube space for me as far as One Piece goes because his focus is more so on the fun aspects of the game, the spirit of the game, the community that the game has generated. And I think I would like to see more of that, and that's why I really gravitate towards Joshua. And honestly, that's one of the big inspirations for this channel to begin with, is because, you know, we have tons of people who are talking about what's the best deck in the meta, here's a tier list of, you know, OP12 decks, etc., etc., etc. We have plenty of people doing that, but we don't have a lot of people talking about, you know, Burn D World and, you know, making goofy decks and trying out stuff to see what sticks on the wall, right? And that's where I think Joshua really is killing the game right now. And yeah, I think he's definitely someone worth checking out if you are getting into the game, or if you're a veteran player. Either or, you're going to enjoy Joshua's content because, like I said, it's just plain fun. Right, there's no hard focus. It's just kind of variety content. He plays all kinds of different decks with different people. He collabs with different YouTubers, and I think as far as if you had to ask me, like, who's the face of our community, right? Like, if you ask me who's the face of the Magic YouTube community, I feel like most people would probably say the Professor, right? Or who's the face of the Yugi tubing community? I don't know, Paul from Team APS, MBT, I don't know. But if you ask me about One Piece and who I think is the best representative as far as a public face in our community goes, it is without a doubt Joshua. Well, there you have it, friends. That is 10 resources down, and 10 resources that I hope enrich your One Piece card game playing experience. Now, unfortunately, I did cut it down to 10 just for the sake of the video, but I will shout out some extra people in the description there that I think are worth checking out. Now, as always, if you like the video, be sure to do the YouTube stuff, ring the bell, give me a subscribe, like it, dislike it if you hated it. If you were like, hey, this guy sucks, fuck this guy, I hate all these people, his haircut sucks. If you're Flacco, give me a dislike, but if you liked it, be sure to do all that YouTube shit like I just said. But as always, this has been your host, Flaffic, and we'll catch you next time.